This is probably why your content isn't getting as many views as possible. You don't have enough time to post it. Pretty straightforward. Sounds like a problem most of us have. So content was being produced at scale, but actually publishing was becoming a problem at Clipflow. Our head of content was starting to fall behind and was not able to perform high value tasks. Now, we decided to make another hire that unlocked publishing and freed his time to focus on the goals of the business. And I'm going to show you exactly how you can do it too. All right, let's dive straight into the Content Coordinator playbook. So what does that look like? The publisher figures out what to post, where to post it, what to say, and what the results are, right? This is the quick TLDR of the whole piece that we're going to be talking about, but let's go and continue on. We're going to cover why the publisher role matters, what they're in charge of, how you find the right person, building your dream team, what to look for, and integrating them into the business, right? Doing this right takes a hell of a lot more time than you will imagine. Okay, as do most things that are worth doing anyway. So you're almost here. You've started setting up your team, but the problem is that the best content in the world won't do anything for your business if no one sees it. I mean, that's pretty straightforward, isn't it? Creating great content is only part one. Getting the content out across the right platforms is part two. And having someone who understands platforms is important, right? So how does this work? The distribution engine. So we create content, we plan, we adapt it. Or repurposing, you may have heard of that word before, and like for the different platforms, and then you post. So for instance, you could have a YouTube long, which you then split into shorts that then get repurposed into a carousel or video carousel on Instagram, or you take that video, transcribe it, and create an image for LinkedIn. So that would be using the same kind of content and repurposing it across the platforms. Now, to be fair, a lot of platforms, you may even need specific edits for those, but when you're trying to focus in the beginning, we're really focusing on one platform and we are just repurposing and kind of maintaining the others. Just having a presence, obviously it's not going to perform as well as it could, but that's okay. So what is the scheduler role? Right. So firstly, the head of content is not that person. They've got bigger things to do, more important jobs. They're supposed to be like your creative director. They're meant to like figure out the strategy. So you've hired your head of content to manage the team, research, ideate, and execute on your content strategy, not to spend all day scheduling content across all platforms. They have better things, bigger things to do, like I said. They're probably also one of the most expensive members on the team because we went out and we looked for the best person for the role. So their dollar per hour will be high and should be focused on work that actually moves the needle. Right? We noticed this very early on in our team. Our head of content was wasting so many hours just uploading and scheduling content. So we knew it was time to upgrade the team. We figured this out. We saw how much time it was taking. We asked him what he was doing. So constantly checking in, part of the thing. And his time was just literally scheduling. It takes time to upload. It takes time to put the thumbnails in, all that kind of stuff. So why do you need a publisher? Why do we think this is important? Because we believe that they're going to turn the average into amazing, right? So the main reason is to free up time for your head of content, so that they can focus on growing the content ops team and driving leads. But there are also a few other reasons, I should say. They are going to cut existing content for various platforms. So like I just described before, taking longs, making them shorts, making them carousel posts, etc. They're going to create new content and images for posts so they can do a lot of that work. They could turn video content into carousels, blog articles, and text posts. This is a really cool one. We're taking our long forms and turning them into blogs, into courses, into all those kind of things. And that is what this person can do. And then they can track and analyze results across platforms to see what is working and what isn't, so we can do more of what does work and focus our efforts. Basically get more value out of the content you are creating. Sweet. I like this little diagram here actually. Create, repurpose, learn, and then just keep doing it. That's what we want to be doing. So building the dream team. How do we do this? So we've touched on this before. Whenever you come to hiring, there's pros and cons to each approach. And it basically comes down to budget versus stability, right? I think that's probably the simplest way to break it down. We think that there's some key ingredients that go into assembling the best team for your business, right? Every business is different, so you need to think about how you want to do this. So freelance pros, cost effective, no commitments, and a lot to choose from. Very easy, very cheap. Let's go. Agency, they have processes in place. They're probably experts already. You've got some kind of redundancy built in, and there's no real management of people required from your side. But it does cost more. It probably costs the most. So you're kind of paying for that knowledge as well. Then you got full time. So you get 100% focus on your business. They're part of the team. You can invest in them. You can grow them. You can make them better. They will understand your processes. And they're also invested in the success of the business, right? Because like hopefully if the business becomes more and more successful, you actually reward your team. That's what we do. We like to do that. Everyone comes along for the ride. And it's kind of like the mid-tier option here in terms of pricing, we think. Now you get the option of choosing remote or local. These also have their own pros and cons. So remote, you have a higher talent pool, like a bigger talent pool, and you get higher talent for the relative cost, right? Because you get different geolocations with different costs of living. People can work overnight if you like that kind of asynchronous work, but you don't have to house them. So you don't have to pay for like seating area or just literal floor space to put these people in. And you actually have to end up with better processes because without them, you can't really work asynchronously. So it actually forces you into building those. And then you have local, right? So local is great for in-person, great for building culture, quick turnaround because you can tap them on the shoulder. Now, whether that's a good thing or a bad thing, I'll leave that to you, but those are the pros of local. Locals is also great. Mixtures of these, even better. What do we look for when we're trying to find our scheduler? It's the small things, most of the time, the small things that matter. There are some key ingredients that go into assembling the best team for your business. But these are the kind of things that we tend to focus on. So communication. I think this is important for every role. I say this every time, but I think it's just one of those things you've got to really look out for. If you can't communicate, this is game over pretty quickly. Energy. You want someone with a lot of energy that wants to show up. It's not just there's more to it. What they do gives them energy. So for me, I'm a software engineer. When I write code, I get energy from it. I really like that. And I think that's really important for editors and stuff. Like they're creatives. They want to create and they need to bring their energy. You want a culture match, right? So it could be age, could be demographic, so that you work together and you're not like conflicted too much. Like it's good to have differences for sure, but yeah, you want them to be able to fit into your culture. Time zones, you need time zones that work, right, for your business. And for everyone, that's different. Some people make like a big overlap and different countries. So we're in Australia. It's quite hard to find overlapping countries. In different parts of the world, it's a bit easier. Speed, so how quickly can they actually execute on their different jobs, like that's important. Pricing and salary, this is important because it needs to match what you can actually afford in your business. The quality of their work and attention to detail, right? These kind of go a little bit hand in hand. And then also generalist versus platform specific. This is a very important point. So first step or step one, I've heard a lot of places and from very influential and important people, like getting platform specific is going to be very important. But in the beginning, we can't do that just because we just probably don't have the resources for that. So you do end up with a generalist, but it's still going to save you a lot of time in the long run. And this is what we're trying to do in the beginning here, is just save this time. I think this is good bang for buck, but obviously it's best to have someone who's really good at Instagram, someone who's really good at YouTube, someone who's really good at LinkedIn. But that's as you have unlimited bigger budgets and you can actually move into that, right? So that's a very important point. But I think in the beginning, we go for generalists. Just to keep moving. It's literally just trying to save that time for your head of content there. So yeah, find the sweet spots that work for your business, right? You want to make sure that when you message them, the message goes seen and they actually do communicate, not just mark it as read. All right, so here we go. Now, integrating them into the business. How do we set them up for success, right? So once you find the right person, you need to actually work on the systems and processes to actually allow them to succeed. Otherwise, everyone's going to have a bad time, right? No one's going to win. So you're going to need specific tools that are going to allow you to do that. Generally, they're going to be software tools. So you're going to need to be able to plan your content projects, review edited media, collect feedback, link to inspiration, track progress, and maintain async feedback loops. Because especially if you're remote, you need that asynchronous workflow. Yeah, we need systems. The individual goes through the system, contributes, and then tracking. And it's a nice little cycle here. So there are a lot of options out there. We use Klipflow, as it allows us to manage everything in one place so nothing is lost and our content planner can work at maximum efficiency. Now, that's a shameless plug. You don't have to use that. You can use lots of different tools. A lot of them exist out there. Choose the tools that work for your business, right? It just helps us onboard faster, get everyone in the right thing. Editors, our head of content, the founders, everyone live in the one piece of software so we all are across it at the same time. And that is that. It's pretty quick, pretty seamless. But I think just to iterate on this, we've created some resources that you can go and download to help you figure this all out. But I think it is really important to find people that are going to help you execute on this. And like I said at the top there, we're going to go for a generalist in the beginning, but then as we get bigger and as the resources increase, we're going to try and find specialists in each area because we want those people to be watching those platforms and working directly with their editors to get the best content that works there. And they can constantly be watching like what's working on those platforms and then iterating and analyzing and making sure that our content is hitting and working there so that we can get the best leads. This is a very important role. It's one of those roles that you don't really think about too much. And then you get to a certain scale and it's just like, we need this role. We put this role in place and it really helped just free a bunch of time. And we're actually seeing a whole bunch of fruit come out of it as well. Just things that we just couldn't do. Like we couldn't run our blog because we just didn't have anyone to do that. Now this person could come in, look at content, repurpose it, put it in the blog. And now it has multiple plays. It has an SEO play so the search engines can find that content. You know, we're seeing Instagram carousels, like I said in the beginning. It's just very, very useful in the long term. So one of the roles I reckon you should have a look at and then see if it works for your business. But we're going to keep going. So we'll catch you guys on the next one.